Call the meeting order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everybody. If your phone is on, please sign it. We'll have the silent prayer. Jeff, it's your turn.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to take a moment of silent prayer. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. Roll call. Today we start with Commissioner Culberson.
Here.
Commissioner Stephen, are you here? Apparently not. Commissioner Smith is here. Commissioner Duff?
Here.
Mr. Reed?
Here.
All righty. Okay, we have quite a few public comments, so we have a clock for your enjoyment. And remember, you have 5 minutes to speak to the governing body. And the first one we'll start with is a Barbara Williams. Might not be here. That's a little late on that one. Okay, I came yesterday. Okay. Rebecca Mahan? Man, I'm sorry, Rebecca. I screw that name up every time. Good morning.
Good morning.
Introduce yourself, and again, you have 5 minutes. Thank you.
Hi, guys. I'm Rebecca Mahan, and I live at 13883 McIntyre Road. I speak to you guys today to ask you to vote down this RHID in Riverbend Heights. The Spring Hill RHID is a smaller RHID also developed by Ad Astra. The Spring Hill School District is spread across 2 counties. The mill levy is just under 68. That school district just passed a $60 million bond with a bond mill rate of 22. How will a bigger RHID affect Lansing? Currently, our bond mill rate in Lansing is 14, and our mill levy is 58. These houses won't be affordable to our local police, firefighters, and teachers, but this development will burden all of them. These houses are attainable at best. The size of this development will deplete our local resources and cause a heavier financial burden to your taxpayers. We are currently failing our retired community, those who have invested many years and tax dollars into this county. This development will raise our taxes. Let's view this situation like Ad Astra is a server at a restaurant and you are a customer. After a couple of beers and a decent service, you generally tip them 20%. Currently, this proposal, you are tipping 80% with our tax dollars. Accepting a proposal for 80% going to the developer and 20% split between city, school, and county is offensive to us taxpayers. A better proposal would be 20% to the developer for decent service and 80% split between the city, county, and school. Please do not allow us to be used as a cash cow for this developer. They aren't local. I ask you guys to defend your loyal taxpayers and not settle for this. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. I have April. Morning, April.
April Cromer, 131st Street in Leavenworth. On April 23, 2025, you made a commendable decision. You passed a policy to cap RHIDs at 15 years. That decision was not arbitrary. It was grounded in the intent of the original legislation, based on the past practices with TIF districts, and shaped by the growing number of RHIDs that are already impacting our county. That day, I listened to your attorneys, and Mr. Lawfrey explained the reasoning. I watched each of you approach the matter with thoughtfulness, discipline, and respect for the people that you serve. You represented the taxpayers, not the developers, and it reminded me why local government matters. On May 1st, the Lansing City Council unanimously denied the Riverbend Heights RHID. Why? Because the developer, Ad Astra, had already been told, because the county policy and the school district did not have the votes for that taxing district. That should have been the end of the story. Instead, it became a strategic delay, a political move, a regrouping effort so the developer and a member of Leavenworth County Development Corporation could pressure officials, host meetings, and attempt to rewrite the ending. Let me be clear. This may not be illegal, but it is deeply unethical, and it sends the message that backroom influence matters more than public consensus. You were not elected to serve Ad Astra, a company based out of Kansas City, Missouri. You were elected to serve us, the residents, taxpayers, seniors, school children, and the public servants who call this county home. I do believe in economic development, and I believe in smart growth, but I believe that there's a role for the LCDC, and it should be focused on attracting businesses, supporting industry, and creating opportunity. When a private board populated by individuals with the vested financial interests starts pushing tax abatements for residential housing developments, we have a problem. Because this project is not for teachers, it's not for police, it's not for firefighters, we need to stop using those professions to prop in a pitch. A $300,000 home with a $2,700 a month mortgage payment is not affordable for most public servants. I know, I've lived it. Now we're proposing to divert funding from schools to help a developer build infrastructure on 146 acres so they can sell upgraded lots to builders who will turn a profit. Double dipping at the taxpayer expense, this is corporate welfare at best. I'm not against developers making money, but I'm absolutely against using tax dollars for our kids' education funding to help them do it. This is not a modest project. We're not talking about 20, 50, or even 100. We're talking about 406 homes, right up against agricultural land. This project will permanently change the landscape of the county. It will strain our roads, our public service, our schools, and once it's done, there's no undoing it. I've watched your planning commission. I've seen the care that they take, the criteria that they apply, and the integrity that they bring to each of us. They follow the golden factors. They weigh the impact, and most importantly, they put the people before the profit. The county would only receive 6.67% of the revenue made by this development for upward of 20 years. Will you do the same? South County is already absorbing hundreds of new homes. Lansing just approved a 194 home off of DeSoto Road. Our law enforcement and fire departments, are they ready? Can our roads handle that volume? What about the safety of K7? What about water infrastructure? And what about school capacity? The answers are not comforting. Riley County just faced a similar RHID, and their commission had the wisdom to shut it down. They had the courage to say no. They understood the long-term damage that these projects can cause when they're rushed, oversold, and under-scrutinized. You need to be as bold. I don't speak to you today as a voter. I speak to you as a retired public servant, a taxpayer, and a citizen who genuinely wants our county to thrive. But that doesn't mean sacrificing our values, our schools, for someone else's short-term gain. And frankly, I'm angry. I'm angry for the elderly who are being taxed out of their homes that they've lived in for decades. I'm angry for teachers and first responders who are being used in these sales pitches only to be left out when decisions are made. Angry that public service is always the first place to be cut, but the last to be protected. This is not another project. It's a turning point. You have a choice. Stand with the people who elected you, or stand with the developer who's counting on your silence, who have no vested interest in our community. Please do what's right for our families, our schools, and our future. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you, April.
Paul?
Morning, Paul.
Good morning. Paul Cromer, 131st Street, Leavenworth. There is a newly approved subdivision in Lansing called Monroe Manor. It is located east of DeSoto Road, behind Pebble Beach Drive and Belle Reve Court. It will be 194 homes, and it is not requesting an RHID. Imagine that. So there can be development in Lansing without using tax abatements. If the Engleharts would have approached the county wanting to develop their 146-acre property, due to the double R zoning, they would have had to section it into 2.5-acre lots for a total of 58 lots. Personally, that sounds great to me. However, not being satisfied with that, they voluntarily annexed their property into Lansing City proper, where the developer, Ad Astra, offered them over $2 million for that 146 acres. Let me make this clear. I do not have a problem with the landowner selling their land for the best price that they can get, or a developer making money on the fruits of their labor. However, when tax dollars are brought in to pay for the infrastructure, that is where I draw the line and call it what it is, corporate welfare. Let me break this down for you. Ad Astra will purchase each of the 406 lots for $5,000 each and sell the approved lots for $40,000 each. According to their most recent feasibility study, Leavenworth County will only receive 6.67% of the total captured tax revenue. And after the developer, Ad Astra, is finally paid off, the county will start receiving their full tax payments in the year of our Lord, 2044. Let that sink in, 2044. Who knows what will happen in this county over that time period? How many of you won't even be alive in 2044? Kind of scary to think about that, but we're not even guaranteed tomorrow. Can you remember how you felt when DOGE was exposing all the wasteful tax dollar spending? I hope you felt like me. I was infuriated. And what do you know? That same wasteful tax dollar spending is happening right here in our own backyards. Don't slow walk and hope that the school board will beat you to the punch and veto this RHID so that you won't have to. Leavenworth was the first city in Kansas, and as county commissioners of the first county in Kansas, I encourage you to be the first on this issue and veto this RHID. It is not a good deal for our county. That should be clear to you, making your decision that much easier. Be the first to act in the best interest of the taxpayers. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate your comments. Is it Janie Stockman? Good morning.
I'm Janie Stockman. I live at 24314 131st Street, Leavenworth, Kansas. I thought about this when I was here because a long time ago, I was born in Leavenworth. I should have said that one. A while back, I was born in Leavenworth, and I enjoyed coming to the courthouse, and so I enjoyed coming here this morning. But, you know, when Paul was talking about the Engelhardts having sold that property so that they can develop, I don't know if you know or not, but they do have a clause in there that if that development doesn't go through, they are allowed to back out and no longer be a part of Lansing. They can go back to being the county, and I'm saying to myself, how in the world is that fair? You mean if it profits you, you're going to do it, but if it doesn't profit you, you don't want the taxes. So that's the only thing I can think. Because I've always been involved with the school district, I've been involved with Lansing Elementary through the Good News Club and different just volunteer things. What concerns me is the number of houses, the safety of the street. That street is already very, very hard. I don't know if you go up and down McIntyre very much. We can hardly get across the road nowadays. I mean, you can't, if you're going east or west, you can't make a left-hand turn. The right-hand turn is very hard. And you ought to try coming north on 7 Highway and turning right onto McIntyre Road. Try as I may, and I don't know how many police officers are in here, I can't make that right-hand turn and miss going over the yellow line in the middle of the road or falling in the ditch. There's no way. It's already too narrow. They didn't build a turn-off or something. That is very, very unsafe. So what they're telling us is they're going to bring in all these homes, and they have a couple of entries there at McIntyre Road at this point. 131st Street is a gravel road, very, very narrow. That's going to have some reconstruction before they could have very many houses there. And I already went through reconstruction. I had picked up my house from the racetrack area because they told me I lived in a blighted area at 112th and State Avenue, brought it up here, was so happy to be home in Leavenworth County. And all to find out they were going to widen the road, they took a bunch of my property, about 2 acres, to widen the road because they say someday there's going to be a major highway there, which I keep rebuking that idea. That might not happen. But if it does happen, how in the world are we going to accommodate all these new houses on that street? They haven't accommodated any places for the kids to go play. It's just streets with bunches and bunches of houses with 50-foot lots. You know, that's wrong. By anybody's clear thinking, if we think taxes or not taxes, that's wrong to say we're going to put all these houses in here, make no accommodations for they say there's going to be 1.2 kids. Well, I don't know about 1.2 because all my family has more than 1.2 kids. But even if it was one kid a house, they don't have any place to go. They don't have any place to play. And we're going to ask them to walk across McIntyre Road or across 7 Highway to get anywhere. I mean, it's really not fair, and I'm really hoping that you will see through this so that it is a financial gain for a couple of people, a few people. I don't know what it means to everyone. I know what it means to us as the people. When we moved in there, they promised us that if anyone wanted to build, because we wondered about that, it would have to be on 2.5 acres. That was a promise. And suddenly, because the Engleharts got a great deal, and this happened very, very fast, because I had been talking, and John had been talking to the Engleharts about possibly buying that ground, and neither here nor there, we didn't need it, but thinking, oh, well, you know, keep great big development coming in. We were thinking commercial. We didn't do it, but when this happened, it happened very, very fast, and there has not been, I think, due consideration by the city council as what the ramifications of all these, and they have a lot of other houses going up. We don't have the infrastructure. They're going to put the community colleges. It's going to be a heavy tax burden on us because they're not paying taxes. All these houses are not going to pay taxes. All the kids going to school. It's going to be difficult. Lansing needs a lot of repair on their schools. Lansing Elementary needs a new roof right now. It's needed it for a few years. And I perceive if we get more kids, we're going to have to come up with a bond or something to build another school. And do you want to do that? So anyway, that's all I have to say, and I appreciate you so much for letting us come in. I hope that we can be a positive influence, and I apologize for not having been more involved in the county in the past. You know, you just go along and live your life, but yep. I'm here now. And that's Jan with the N, not M. N as in nice, Janie, not JAM as in mean. So that's how you remember me. Nice.
Thank you. We have Trina Guilford. I pronounced it right. Good morning.
Trina Guilford, 139th Street, Leavenworth. In 2023, the City of Lansing had a housing needs analysis performed. There were, based on 157 surveys that the City of Lansing said they sent out. Most people did not know about the survey. I did not receive one. We were annexed into the City of Lansing some years ago by force, not by choice. So they're backing on these 157 surveys out of a population of 11,229. They found this to be an adequate number to rely on. The 157 surveys tallied focused on tax relief as the first need and affordable housing. The analysis advised the city that it needed 168 small lot homes and 168 conventional single-family homes. The analysis also advised that town center would be a suitable component for high-density housing and would unlikely generate opposition. Apparently, 157 surveys were used to introduce the RHID program and connect the developer, Ad Astra, to the owners of the land at 131st and McIntyre. 417 small homes are proposed to fit into this area, which is not comparable to the existing neighborhood. The current neighborhood, the homes sit on 2.5 acres. Ad Astra is proposing to build 7 houses on 1 acre. The RHID isn't what we need, nor are taxes going back to pay the developer over the next 15, 20, 25 years. Locals that have experience in developing and building homes will more than likely not be hired to complete the subdivision because Ad Astra has their own contractors that they use. How many RHIDs can the county afford at the same time. So we have 3 in Tongi, 1 in Leavenworth, 3 in Lansing. 2 of them have not gone to City Council yet. Can we afford 5 to 7 RHIDs over the next 20, 25 years? No. Will this cause Leavenworth County residents to see higher taxes because of the RHIDs? A developer has said that materials are more expensive and the RHID is needed. So they're going to receive RHID money, revenue for the sale of lots, and begin receiving rent when the units are completed, if that's the type of if that's the type of housing that they're going to do, is renting it. Everything has increased in price for all of us, but the residents do not have the luxury of getting a payback of any kind. Why is an out-of-town state developer being protected instead of the residents? Please stand up for the Leavenworth County residents and vote no. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Ma'am, I have a question. Thank you. You mentioned that there was hundreds of surveys that were sent out. How many did you receive back?
The City of Lansing received 157. I do not know the total number that they sent out. I had specifically asked the council or the city manager when those surveys went out and how they got them to the residents. And first they said it was on our website. And I mean, how many people are going to know that? Not everyone goes. Not all 11,000 plus go to their website and know that there's a survey. And then he kind of stumbled a bit and said, well, we mailed them out. Well, I didn't get one.
I received one. I live in Lansing. I can't remember how you bring up a good point. I don't remember how I was notified, but I do remember I received one. And of course, I filled it out because I think everybody that gets one should put their 2 cents to see whether they're for it or against it. So I did receive one, but I can't remember how it was. I'm not sure it was on the web or I saw it, or for some reason I think it was in the mail, but I could be wrong. Anyway.
Right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
All righty. John Redden. Now, John, 5 minutes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Morning.
Morning. Tom said, a picture worth 1,000 words, so I'm just
I know. I think it'll be in the colored area. Yeah.
Thank you. So, yes, we're here today. We're seeking justice from the Leavenworth County Board of Commissioners on this Riverbend Heights RHID from a tyrannical government. That's unfortunately the city of Lansing, who voted 5-3 on July the 17th to approve this Riverbend Heights RHID. Okay, so here it is right here. Here's K7. And this development here, Delaware Ridge and Epic States don't exist. This is all soybeans and cornfields today. This is a big hayfield today. And this is where this 406 houses are.
Yeah.
It juts conspicuously into Leavenworth County. This is the line.
Yeah.
Lansing's here. Leavenworth County's here. But this was annexed in. And you can see that, all these residents here, 469, is where the kids going to play. Here's K7. It's a long way to go to the middle school or the high school. There's no ball field. You can't expect these kids to, and the adults, to just stay inside or go to work, go to school, watch the flat screens, and pay taxes. These are human beings, and they have a right to play. But All right, but I'd like to get in just a little bit of the background. Okay, so a senior representative of Roush Coleman, that's the builder that Ad Astra teamed with on the Spring Hill development, recently advised me that the developer always makes a profit when he sells the improved lot to the house builder. And he said that in Kansas City area, the typical lot cost of an improved lot is $85,000. So the original RHID resolution document stated that the total infrastructure cost for this Riverbend Heights, the infrastructure cost is a little over $27 million. Okay, and that included $2 million in contingencies. So if you divide that $27 million by the 406 houses, the average development cost per house is about $65,000. Now he said that the sales cost per improved lot is $85,000. So you subtract 65 from the 85,000, you get an average profit per lot of $20,000. So you multiply that by the 406 houses, and so that's an $8 million profit that he's making. Okay, he's making that before there's any RHID funds going his way. So the RHID funds is all gravy on top of that $8 million profit. So what's the justification for asking for the RHID? It really isn't any. And it also should be mentioned that, as mentioned, the total infrastructure cost is $27 million, but the total value of all the houses once they're finished is between 130 and 150 million. So the infrastructure costs that this Ad Astra is doing only represents 20% of the value. Now remember, he's getting reimbursed from the original land value to the finished value of the house, but he's only contributing the development costs. He's not he sells the improved lot to a builder who builds the house, frames the house, puts on the roof, does everything else. He does most of the work, but he gets none of the RHID funds. The original developer, he gets all the RHID funds, but he only contributes 20%. So, is that kind of fair? No, I don't think it's fair. I don't think you do either. The main point is he's getting paid twice, and he shouldn't get paid twice. Where I stand, if you're making money and you're not earning it, it's a type of fraud. Okay, I've got 30 seconds. On these RHIDs, the Department of Commerce in Kansas, a major pillar is to demonstrate to them that the housing needs analysis demonstrated a shortage of housing, a persistent shortage of housing. Okay? We know this Delaware Ridge is right around the corner. Epic Estate's right around the corner. Up here is Monroe Manor, 194 houses. So how can Lansing, shutting this down, can prove that this is a persistent shortage of housing? No way. They can't, but they're going to try to do it.
Okay. Thank you, John. Okay, Kirsten Workman. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, guys and ladies. Thanks for letting me address you today. I'm going to be pretty quick. I just want to say that I'd like to offer my support for the proposal to proclaim a month in honor of traditional families. Like many others, I normally don't support these types of declarations because they seem to create categories of preference in addition to distracting from the work that government should be doing. However, I have to take exception in this case because I can't think of a better way to unify our community in a positive and inclusive way that is of universal benefit to everyone. Everyone has a mother and a father. The traditional family is the foundation of our society. Sadly, broken families and single parenting continue to negatively impact children in immeasurable and unjust ways for generations to come. If you can successfully promote the value of doing what it takes to give children a mother and a father to grow up with, I believe you will have made a positive difference for the children of Leavenworth County and all our futures. Second, I want to address the library board's aggressive response to those of you who criticize their promotion of gender theory and books that conflate sexual love with universal or agape love in the children's section. The Leavenworth Library has no right to discourage criticism of their purchases and display decisions, and people have every right to question them. In response, the library should embrace dialogue and either defend its decisions or reflect on public opinion instead of issuing intimidating open letters to our county commission to discourage you and consequently everyone else from speaking your minds. Yes, libraries are supposed to be for everyone, and I certainly don't see it as the library's job to insulate my children from material that I don't see as appropriate. The flip side of that is, I want you to be aware of, is that our family is one of many who seldom go to the library anymore because we do not generally feel it is a welcoming or safe space to explore with our children. Furthermore, Commissioner Reed, I support your ability to address your mayor, to express your views on unilateral proclamations made without public input. Leavenworth City isn't a monarchy, and while I am not a Leavenworth Library stakeholder, I condemn their abuse of a trivial rule to stop you from quietly taking photos of the books on display in the children's section. I highly doubt the mayor would have received the same treatment if she tried to do the same. It's ironic. The library, of all places, didn't want you documenting things because they decided ahead of time they weren't going to like your historical account. So they used an arbitrary application of an irrelevant rule to stop you. It's very chilling when you really think about it. It's quite the tyrannical shush from the library, don't you think? I pray each of you will continue to exercise your freedoms everywhere you go, and I ask my county commission to continue to advocate and uphold that freedom for each other and for all of us, aside from raising our taxes all the time. You are doing a terrific job. Please stop raising our taxes. God bless you and our families, and your families, traditional or unconventional. And with just maybe another 60 seconds, I'd like to speak off the cuff on the RHID proposal. As a citizen, I've been disappointed, not with the intention, but perhaps the lack of public transparency and my inability to actually engage with my elected officials locally to get some tough questions answered. That's been disappointing. There's been a divide and conquer approach to winning over minds. And it's not your job to protect the children's money, but you may be the only governing body that can do it. So I'm asking you, if you have the ability to stop this developer from taking the children's money, I ask you to please do so. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you. Appreciate your comments. Is there anybody else in the audience who would like to address the governing body? Okay, if not, we'll move on. Administrative business. Mark, do you have anything? Jeff?
I do.
Go right ahead.
So one of the things I brought up several years ago actually was if we ever had the chance to not replace some bridges that aren't used very much and use that money more wisely. And for instance, I'm specifically talking about paving roads, trying to find a way to pave more roads in my district quicker. So there's a bridge that's hardly used, 20 cars a day at most. I've talked to a lot of the neighbors, but the reason I'm mentioning it today in the meeting is I would like to get the word out there better. So here's a copy I was going to show you guys. Basically, I'm just passing around a petition. I'm trying to do my homework ahead of time to make sure there isn't anybody who is against closing this bridge. Yeah.
It says, we, the undersigned, would rather see more roads in our district paved instead of spending the money on replacing a bridge on Knapp Drive K3. And this is up in the Easton area, right?
Yes. So instead of replacing a bridge for $1 million that hardly anybody uses, I'd rather take that $1 million and pave some more gravel roads in my district. I'm asking everybody who has anything to do with K3, this particular bridge, if they have a problem with it, and hoping this gets
the word out.
Some more reaction. Yeah. So far, everybody I've talked to is agreeing with the idea, thinks it makes total sense.
Right.
But I'm looking for the people who might have an issue with it. That's who I'm trying to get a hold of. So that's why I thought I'd mention it today. This one fits the bill. So far, like I said, I've thought of this several years ago, but there's a lot of criteria that it has to meet, and this is the first one that doesn't have a lot of traffic. It actually, most of my life, it was a dirt road. Didn't even have gravel on it. The detour, if it was closed, the inconvenience it would make for the adjacent neighbors is minimal. The high cost of replacing the bridge doesn't make sense to spend the money on a bridge when we could use that for paving another road. It doesn't affect any homes. There are no houses people live in that use this bridge daily to get to work. So,
Jeff, are you talking to people in that area about that? I mean, have you been on foot or phone call or something?
absolutely, and
'Cause
that's
we
why.
definitely, before I want to make a decision, I want to make sure that everybody gets their 2 cents in.
And that's exactly why I'm bringing this up here, because so far, knocking on doors and word of mouth has turned up nobody against
Okay.
it, so those are the people I'm looking for.
Okay.
And the last thing I'd like to say is we could always open this again later. If down the road finances get better, it doesn't make any difference whether we replace it today or replace it then. Sure, it'll be more expensive then, but my point is, I think the money spent today would make more sense paving the road instead of replacing a $1 million bridge that nobody uses. So.
Yeah, it's a mill. Okay. Is that it, Jeff?
Yep, that's
Thank
it.
you. I have nothing. Commissioner Dunn?
I don't have anything.
Okay. That being said, we'll move on to the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Got a motion, have a second.
Second.
Motion, second, any discussion? Commissioner Culberson?
Aye.
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 All right. We'll go to formal board action. Consider a motion to adopt a minimum rate increase from $5 to $10 for the MSW and minimum rate increase from $13 to $20 for C and D. Who's here to explain that?
Looks like I am.
You might want to explain to the audience exactly what that means, Harlan.
That's fine. So a couple of items. First, we've discussed this a few weeks ago, that our contract for the transfer station allows the vendor who hauls the solid waste off to increase their rates per the CPI. So they've notified us of that increase, and that's what this that's what the change here is doing. We're moving the $5 to $10 for the minimum to help absorb that. And I know if Tammy was here, she could do a better job of explaining, but that minimum hasn't been changed since as far back as 2007. So we think it's probably time to make a change there and move it up to something that's more feasible. I think if you read through, she also did some research, and that still puts us on the lower end in the metro area. The other change is the minimum rate from $13 to $20 for C&D. Again, same type of issue. It hasn't been changed for quite a while. We're just trying to bring those up to to be more competitive. And also, this is a enterprise fund, so it needs to be self-supportive. It's not supported by any taxes. And this is just, again, it's time to make these changes.
All right, it's an enterprise fund. It has to be paid through that way without tax dollars. Okay, commissioners?
Second.
Any comments yet?
Nope.
Now I'll get a motion. Mr. Duff, do you want to do it?
I make a motion to adopt the minimum rate increase from $5 to $10 for MSS, and a minimum rate increase from $13 to $20 for CD.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any more discussion? Start the roll call. Commissioner Culberson?
Aye.
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 All righty. Okay, next. Consider a motion to adopt a rate increase of $2 per ton, gate rate increase effective 1/2025.
Commissioners, this is the one that I kind of covered both of them already, but this is the one that changes the gate rate because of the CPI increase that our hauler increased. So, and we're increasing it $2 per ton to cover their increase.
Ready for a motion, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I make a motion to adopt a rate increase of $2 per ton, gate rate increase effective September 1st, 2025.
I'll second it. Any discussion? Mr. Culberson?
Aye.
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 All right. Next, item C, consider a motion to approve the rate and card amending the health plan family rates for 2025/2026 as presented. Mark?
Commissioners, this, as you recall, you approved this earlier this year. However, in the last couple of weeks, as we've been discussing the budget and the impact of that increase on staff, this is the solution that we came up with, was to amend the employee rate on our base plans. That's what this rate card does, and so this is just formalizing what we discussed and you all approved last week.
Yeah, I remember very well. We want to make sure people weren't losing money on their pay when we make an action like this. And I think that's what you changed. Is there any discussion on this? No, Vanessa, you had an issue with it before. You okay with that? Okay. Anybody else?
I'm good.
Okay. I'll take a motion then.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the rate card amending the health plan family rates for the 2025-2026 as presented.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Mr. Culberson?
Aye.
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 All right. Good deal. Thanks for handling that, Mark. Consider a motion to place equipment on the surplus list to sell on Purple Wave as presented. Morning, Bill.
Morning, Commissioners. Today for your consideration is the placement of equipment onto the list for sale on Purple Wave, the auction site. The equipment listed, with the exception of the Freightliner number 66, has already had the replacement equipment arrive. Generally, we see the equipment windows for the order date to the delivery date vary greatly depending on availability, and so with that, number 66 is non-operational. So while Purple Wave is out, we might as well go ahead. We're not going to repair that truck. It is scheduled for the new one to arrive here before the end of the year, and it does not make financial sense to repair it. So.
Okay, this is something we do every so often, sell it, and we've been very fortunate, I think, what Bill's been able to do to get back funds on selling our equipment. Is there any comments or questions to Bill on this? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to place equipment on the surplus list to sell on Purple Wave as presented.
I'll second it. Any more discussion? Mr. Culberson?
Aye.
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 Okay, thank you, Bill. Okay, next is consider a motion to approve the contract with Ebra Construction for the 235th Street project in the amount of $4,301,411.96 with a 7.5 contingency. Bill?
Commissioners, as you recall, and you've seen over the last couple months, we come back before you multiple times on grant projects in order to fulfill the requirements of the Notice of Award and Contracting. So previously, the Board of County Commissioners has accepted the low bid from Ebert Construction. That triggered us to issue a Notice of Award or Authority to Award packet, which resulted in the contract being prepared. Today, for your consideration, is the contract for construction. We have been notified by the contractor that they intend to utilize the late start date on this project or near the window, into the window of the start date. And so we are anticipating this project starting in October. If the board has any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer.
Any questions?
Nope.
Okay, entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the contract with Ebert Construction for the 235th Street project in the amount of $4,301,411.96 with a 7.5% contingency.
Got a motion, I'll second. I'll second it then. Any more discussion? Mr. Culberson?
Aye.
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 All righty. Next on the table, let's consider a motion to approve the updated public comment policy. Go ahead, Mark.
Commissioners, as directed, I have provided what I believe were the intended changes to our public comment policy. The attached policy reflects those changes, and the RBA discusses the changes that were made.
Looks like what we asked for. Commissioners? Any comments on it? It's what we asked for.
We asked for it, so.
And it worked well this morning, so I was glad to see it. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the updated public comment policy.
You have a second?
Second.
Second. A motion and a second. Any discussion? Mr. Culberson?
Aye.
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 All right, very good. I think it's going to work well. G's, consider a motion to approve Board Order 2025-10, authorizing the county council to take action to secure county's share of opioid-related funds, can't even pronounce it, to support the drug,
Opioid.
in the county. Thank you. Go ahead, Ms. D.
Good morning, Commissioners. the county has been involved in a multi-party litigation against various opioid manufacturers and distributors. I know there's been much talk about it. In the past, the board had authorized prior county councilor to advance the county's interest. We now have some deadlines in September coming up. I know some of the defending parties had raised issues in the past with other jurisdictions not having authority to sign these settlement agreements or fill out these forms. So I have this board order here that's seeking authority, so nobody could say I didn't have authority to fill out the forms. Essentially, we have one settlement coming of at least $73,000. There's a couple more coming. I can't give exact amounts on it yet because it depends on who all participates in it. One of them I think the Purdue one is at an $8 billion total, and the next one is $1.2 billion. So the steps are just making sure we don't miss out on anything and miss a procedural hurdle.
Yep. That's exactly what it's doing. Because we had that drug problem and it got crazy, and now the people having to pay their dues for it. Pharmacy. Any comments?
Ready for a motion?
Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve Board Order 2025-10, authorizing the county councilor to take action to secure the county's share of the opioid-related, it is hard to say, funds to support opioid abasement in the county and funds to be used to pave roads in District 1.
I'll second it. I didn't sound too bad after hearing
Did you hear his motion?
What'd you say? On the roads? Jeff, nice try. I'm still laughing at you
Mark.
for pronouncing it. Thank you, Mark. That's what you get paid for. Let's try again, Jeff.
All right, all the same thing except take off the paved roads in District 1.
That was pretty good. You must be a politician. That's pretty good, Jeff. Okay. So we have a motion to approve the Board Orders 2025-10, authorizing the county to consider take action to secure the county share of opioid-related funds to support opioid abasement in the county. Period.
I just want to make you say opioids.
I have a motion. I have a second. Second. Any kind of conversation on this? And let Jeff throw us into that. Commissioner Culberson?
Aye.
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 Jeff.
Thanks, Mark.
Almost worked. It almost worked.
It's quick.
It did. I'll have to pay attention a little closer to what you're doing now. Okay, on presentation discussions, the first one up, discuss change the traditional family value month proclamation. I was the one that asked that it go back and be looked at, where I feel that single families are I've known a lot of single families are very strong. I don't disagree with when you have two parents inside a home. I was fortunate to have that it makes it a difference. So what I've done, and it's up to the county commission, I just took out took out the part where where children in single parent households face higher risk, with 60% are use suicide, 90% homeless. That paragraph going down the line. What I'm trying to say is I support it being brought up and said because there's a lot of truth to it. But I just trying to make it. I don't want to make it feel like the people that are out there, that are single parents, struggling, doing a great job. Because I know a lot of them. There's some in the audience that were single at one time. I don't want to make it look like this proclamation is saying that they can't do a good job. So that was my only 2 cents, and it's open for comments now.
I have a comment, Mr. Chairman. Is that I think it is lacking in one respect, whereas it doesn't take into account of adopted children.
That's true. And remember, this is for discussion right now. This will be coming back next week. Yep. So anything we want to adjust to it now has to be done. I think what you're going at, Mr. The same thing I'm trying to say. There are outside things in the traditional two families, which I think is fantastic. Right. But there's also things outside that do a really good job too. But there's no taking away. Having a two-parent family does make a big difference. Like I've said many times, my dad's a retired colonel, and if I hadn't had any in my life, I'd probably never got to wear a badge for 21 years. At the same time, I was not trying to disagree with what was being said. I was trying to put it in a more friendlier thing to make sure people that have two parents, they know they can do a great job too. That's what I was saying. So we'll take the adopted thing for a second, but let's see what else we got. Vanessa?
So if we just strike the statistics on single-parent families, that's the only change you were submitting?
I'm sorry, Vanessa. I'm getting old.
If we strike the change on the statistics about the single-parent families, is that the change you were
Yeah,
submitting?
that's what I'm looking at, because automatically, and we can put the adopted in there too, because I think that we want to make it include everybody, what he's trying to say. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
And then what verbiage change are you suggesting?
If we also include adoption of children, because it doesn't give any information here that says that they're also included in the traditional family.
So maybe in the heading where it says natural,
And
could
adopted,
change
yeah, natural and adopted children.
that too.
Yes.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. Jeff?
I don't have any.
Okay. Vanessa, do you have anything else with that?
Sounds good.
Okay. Jeff? Do you have any comments?
No.
Okay, so what we're agreeing on, we're going to put the adopted on the heading, and we're going to take out that work paragraph and bring it back next week for a vote.
Yes.
Is everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Where did it go? I don't know if this is the appropriate time to discuss it or not, but I wanted to point out that on Barbara Williams' submission for comment, she stated that she would not be here, but she wanted her comments to be placed on the record. How do we normally handle that?
Okay, we didn't catch that. We can give that to Mark,
Okay.
and it'll be adjusted. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, there was a gentleman, too, that wanted me to read the comments about the RHID. Well, he wanted Commissioner Stephen to do it, but I wasn't going to read it, even though I agree with a lot of it. But what I asked Mark to do is make sure that all the county commissioners have a copy of it.
Okay, thank
And
you.
if somebody would like to come in and read it for him, but he'll be part of the record also.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else, Vanessa? We're going to go to budget discussion now. Mark?
Commissioners, we have a couple of items, and I see Terry Lois in the back, so I will have her come up. This is when we were doing our budget hearings, we had discussed some changes, and I think we have made those, and that's what's presented to you in the pack today. Just wanted to give Terry Lois an opportunity to go over those with you and see if you had any
Terry.
questions.
Go right ahead.
Should be.
Good morning, Commissioner Smith, Commissioners. I'm glad to return to further explain the budget amounts, especially the salaries for your consideration. First, I'd like to point your attention to what was in the packet. The 2002 Kansas Statute 28-115A, which created the Register of Deeds Technology Fund. There was no mention of salaries allowed. The intent was for the funding of technology costs in storage and preservation of land records. Secondly, in your packet, the legislative post-audit stated in 2004 that salary expenditures would not be appropriate under current law. Attorney General Opinion 14 from 2010 stated salaries may be an appropriate expenditure when reasonable nexus exists between staff activities and historic preservation. It was my idea 2 years ago to move part of my salary, office salary, into Rod Tech when we were back indexing 150 to 200 documents per day. I knew we met statutory interpretation of the Attorney General's opinion, and I spoke to 3 of you commissioners at the time that this would be a temporary shift of payroll out of general fund. We have reached our goal of having a fully searchable index for the past 50 years as a service to researchers. Now, with our increased office activity and full-time staff shortage, after we complete daily demanded recordings, we seldom back index in down times. My desire is to be efficient with taxpayers' money as possible while being statutorily compliant. This necessitates the shift of part of salaries previously funded in Rod Tech back to the general fund due to actual staff activity. Lastly, I would point you to the spreadsheets that were in your packet. On the sheet titled General Fund 2025, July 12, you will note the salary line increase is from 2% of the 2025 budgeted salary guideline plus $10,000 returned to general fund from Rod Tech. The overall increase to total general fund is less than the requested 2.8%, and the overage is due to the $10,000 shift as shown on the detail spreadsheet I included. The balance of payroll left in Rod Tech is what I can justify in an audit by actual activity of staff. Stand for questions.
Mark, he said once you folks got together and talked about it, it was in line with what we had asked in the beginning with everybody, right?
Yes, after we made after Terry Lewis made the adjustment, it falls in line. Yes.
That's what I saw, and thanks for taking time to visit with me the other day. So when I saw that $100,000, it's mainly around the way we move the numbers around, and that was the issue that I had concerns. But now that she stayed within what we recommended on the 2.5 or 2.8, it made sense to me. Anyway, she'll stand for any questions anybody has.
If I can speak to what you just said.
Yep.
We, if you look at the actual spend for 2025 of $208,000, that's due to 2 full-time staff issues. We lost 1 full-time staff due to medical reasons, and I'm working to get that person back in a full-time position. And the second person had a promotion and moved to IOC.
That happens. Any questions? I'm pretty happy with the answers I saw. Not that will, Mark, will that just be brought back to us?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Okay.
Commissioners, I have some other budget discussion that
go ahead.
I wanted to touch on.
Go right ahead.
I had provided each of you a copy of the outside agency budget requests in a spreadsheet that demonstrated what we had budgeted since 2021, and then demonstrates the requests they've made this year. As presented, or as currently anticipated, the 2026 budget does not include any enhancements. It does, which means that any of the increase in requests are not funded, with the exception of the fare premiums, which is required statutorily. And then it does not include any new requests. I did not include that in the budget. The budget, as it currently stands, I think we are at a fairly comfortable $0.25 reduction. We're still working through some of the numbers, and obviously any adjustments will be slight, not major at this time. But as anticipated right now, we would be at least a $0.25 reduction, maybe slightly more than a $0.25, but that's what we're looking at.
$0.25 $250,000 plus.
About probably $260,000, $270,000.
Okay.
Now, the board can give direction to include any of the enhancements that these outside agencies have requested, or we can leave it as presented. That's kind of, if I could get a little bit of direction today, I would appreciate that. If you prefer to think it over and wait till next week, we can do that. But we are running up to the line where once we set the public hearing, we can only reduce the mill levy. We can't increase it. Right. So if you're going to add any of these outside requests or these additional requests, I need to know now so I can get them in there before we do set the public hearing.
Jeff, you have any comments?
No, other than, the way I try to explain it to people is if your grocery bill gets high and all your neighbor kids are over at your house eating, you're not going to buy less groceries for your kids. You're going to tell the neighbor kids they got to go eat at their house. I don't like cutting any of these agencies out, but when you have to cut something, you pick ambulance or police or picking somebody's charities for them.
Yeah. Well, I think one good thing, well, as I say, a lot of these have been discussed in the past. We've discussed it, I think, 50 or 60% the last few years on some of these outside agencies. And this brought down, these are the ones that we funded yesterday, and we kept them at the same level. Is that correct?
The current,
except for the fairgrounds.
The current budget, as we're working on it, represents level funding for the outside agencies from 2025 into 2026.
Okay.
It does not include any of the request enhancements. A couple of the agencies asked for increases. It does not include that. And then we had multiple new requests as well, and it does not include those.
Yeah. Wish we could fund everybody, but we just
And
can't.
that's exactly what I'm trying to say.
We just can't
I
do
wish
it.
we could fund everybody.
But we just can't do it. Okay, Willie, do you have anything on the budget?
No, I don't. I agree with yes, we just can't fund it. It's just not there.
Vanessa, I know you have a comment. Go ahead. Get your pen out.
I didn't raise my hand or anything.
I know it's coming good. I saw the way you looked. I know you long enough. Go ahead. Your turn.
Well, I guess I would like to discuss the Sparrow Women's Clinic. Looking on the budget, looks like it's back to maybe 21. I think they requested in 24. I don't think we've done anything since then. Especially when, if I understand correctly, our discussions with the health department, that they can make referrals to the Sparrow Women's Clinic as a resource. I didn't know if we could entertain any funding for that reason because we specifically.
We can absolutely. That's what the board's made up to do. We can entertain any of the people that come in. I think there's probably half a dozen folks that came in that Mark didn't present to us as an increase. It's up to the county commissioners. And I make it clear, every one of these things are quality of life issues, and I support them. I just know with the way the state and the things are with our property tax, that, trying to cut anywhere we can. Quarter is only $260,000, at least right now. There could be some more coming. It's just something that we got to give some kind of relief to. But I understand what you're saying, Vanessa. So yeah, I guess the county commissioners, rest of you, how we all feel about adding to that, because we need to give Mark direction. We're kind of running out of time on this thing. I know if Mike was here, he'd have a mouthful to say, but since he's on his train,
It could be less. Their request is $75,000. It doesn't mean we have to do $75,000. I just didn't know if you would entertain any, since from what I understood, we want the health department to have that resource to be able to send individuals to that resource.
I don't disagree with that. I personally would never even come close to that number being a one-time thing. I mean, when we would do that, it would just be, for me, just be a few $1,000s, because I want to keep that quarter mill levy going down. In fact, I'd like to see it more, but I've gone over these books, and yeah, anybody can cut anything, but you got to provide services. That's what thing Jeff's bringing up about the bridge. That $1 million is almost a mill by itself on that bridge if we don't do that. So, I would be comfortable, but nowhere near that amount. Jeff?
Like I said, I don't know how to justify to people that I didn't spend your tax money on paving your road. I picked a charity for you and gave your money to that charity. I don't like that idea.
I understand. Willie?
Mark, is there any leeway possible, any funds, any place that we can justify and not really hurt the bottom line of the services from the county?
Well, Commissioners, any increase is obviously funded via taxes. We don't have another way to fund it. So if you added Sparrow Clinic, $5,000, $20,000, it's marginal because the value of a mill levy. I mean, would you notice that it's probably like a $5,000 increase is probably a hundredth or maybe even less of a mill? Would people notice it? No, probably not. But it is still an increase. As we set right now, like I said, there is at least a quarter of a mill decrease in the mill levy. Adding $5,000 to the budget probably isn't going to impact that. Adding $75,000, that will impact it.
I would have no problem with $5,000 at this time, because these are tough calls. Because when your mill's over $1 million, $5,000. I mean, it's there, but I wouldn't have a problem with $5,000 for this year. Then we just have to take a look at it down the line. But the outside agencies, we tried, and we know it's a quality of life issue, but County's on the ticket for everything that's a quality of life issue that we have to come up with. That people don't realize. The cities, we don't get tax dollars as far as sales tax unless we're doing a joint effort. We're all on property tax. We have over 400 something employees, and I forgot how many miles of road, so it's tough. So if I would consider anything whatsoever, just my 2 cents, I'd allow 5,000.
I would go along with 5,000. I was going to ask for 10.
I'm cheap.
I support 10.
I know you would. I know you would. But to not give them anything and knowing the seriousness of what the business at the Spiro Clinic does, something
I agree with
would be helpful than none.
Do you think we could support 10,000?
Commissioners, we can fund whatever you decide. A few weeks ago when we met with the departments, we were going through, and I think one of the commissioners was questioning $50 expenditures. I think that was what Commissioner Culbertson's point is when we're asking our departments to cut $50 to help with the budget, adding 5,000 to 10,000 back in. That's a policy decision. Can I still get a $250,000 if you give them 10,000? Yes, I can.
I've got 5. That's what.
Okay.
I gave you
what did you say?
The same.
5,000.
5,000.
I told you.
I know. This job sucks.
Yeah, sure does.
Why don't you tell me what you really think, Jim? Okay, it looks like the consensus is 5. Okay. Anything else in the budget? I think.
I'm just.
Go ahead, Mark.
The other items that were on there were the historical societies and the museums. Just want to make sure, again, those are not included in the 2026 budget.
No.
I see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, is everybody okay with the budgets that stay ahead in the 5,000? Move forward. Okay, got your marching directions. Mark, anything else on that?
Not on budget discussion.
Okay, we're not going to adjourn now. We're going to go on and talk about some other things here because we're going to have executive at the end. Meals on Wheels. Wake up back there, Con. Good morning.
Commissioners, I'm sorry, I was going to start. Several months ago, we discussed a waiting list on Meals on Wheels, and the Commission gave direction on how we can resolve it. Connie and her staff did a great job, first of all, of reassigning some routes and just kind of expanding their capacity to alleviate most of the waiting list. I don't know where you're at today, but we really thought it was important to address overall what's happening, why we have a list, and what the intent on Meals on Wheels is. And Connie and I worked together, and she provided some good numbers. And I really think it's important that the Commission hear where we're at with Meals on Wheels and some of the ideas that we have that would help make it more sustainable long term.
Commissioners, I don't know that we've had an opportunity to talk about Meals on Wheels in this depth, but I think it's important to go back and talk about the initial premise of Meals on Wheels, which is first and foremost to reduce hunger. That's why we have Meals on Wheels. Secondly, to reduce isolation and promote socialization. So to give people a check-in where they see at least someone, if they're getting a home-delivered meal or if they're getting a congregate meal, that they have an opportunity to socialize, so they're not isolated. And then thirdly, to promote their health and well-being. So as a part of our menu that we send out, we provide information, nutrition information, to folks. So even though they may not be leaving their homes, they are getting information on nutrition and exercise and things they can do to keep their home safe. So those are all products in addition to the meal that are provided as a part of Meals on Wheels. We are the eyes and ears for emergency contacts who may not live locally to ensure that, if people aren't answering the door, we are calling to do a welfare check. We are calling 911 if we see in a window that they've fallen, different things like that. So that is a part of what we do every day with Meals on Wheels. In order to qualify for Meals on Wheels, you need to be 60 years of age, according to both federal and state guidelines. You qualify for home delivered meals if you're isolated. So that means you could be socially isolated, meaning that it's not in your well-being to congregate with a large group of people to get your meal. If that is something that someone that we assess isn't able to handle due to a mental health issue or other issue, we are able to provide a home delivered meal. We also provide home delivered meals to caregivers. So say a husband is taking care of a wife who has Alzheimer's. That husband may not necessarily qualify for Meals on Wheels, but is provided a meal because it provides respite for caregiving. And then you're also eligible for Meals on Wheels if you are caring for someone with a disability who is younger than 60 but in your home. So say I'm a mother who's 65 caring for my 37-year-old son who's autistic and disabled. Right. It is another form of respite to be able to give that meal to the senior who is caring for someone with a disability. So those all go into the decisions that we make to determine who will be on Meals on Wheels and who will receive a home-delivered meal. One of the things that we've talked about is our wait list. We're currently at a wait list of 10. And we've talked about the different reasons why we have a wait list. We can't determine when someone calls where they're going to call from. We may have an opening on a Lansing route, but we may get a call from someone in rural Tonganoxie who is asking to be put on Meals on Wheels and who qualifies. So that opening on the Lansing route doesn't help us get that person on the route in Tonganoxie.
But you've cut down the waiting list.
Yes, at one time it was 31. Okay. And so now, today, it's 10. Yesterday, it was less. But, you get calls yesterday that for people who qualify. So one of the things that we did, and I know, anytime you're looking at data, there's always a story behind the data. We used income level to illustrate for you kind of where we are. So I provided a packet to you so you could see by poverty level, starting at 100% of the poverty level, what those income guidelines are and who currently on Meals on Wheels and where they're located falls into that poverty guideline. Yeah. So for illustrative purposes, we have about 40% of our Meals on Wheels recipients who are unable to pay or simply don't pay $3 per meal for the meal that they receive. Just to make it easier, data-wise, I just took the first 40%. But that's not to say that someone who makes $1,000 doesn't try to pay something. We get paid in pennies, in quarters, in nickels, whatever they have and are able to provide. Where we have some folks on the higher levels of income who don't pay at all. So I just wanted to be clear about that. And then anytime you see in red an income, that is a couple's cumulative income. So you may find that I think the first couples we come across are at 100% of the poverty level, and together they make $1,500 a month. Yeah. So a couple of the things that the county administrator and I talked about would be showing you the numbers if we left things as they are. We have more people aging into Meals on Wheels every day. So if we left it at current state, $3 a meal and given that 40% typically don't pay, we bring in about $204,000 in donations. One of the things that presented itself as an option is, in order to clear the wait list, what if we capped Meals on Wheels income at 400% of the poverty level, which is an income of about $5,000 a month for an individual, $7,000 for a couple. And so you could provide guidance to me to say, at that income level, we don't provide Meals on Wheels. But as I mentioned before, there's always a story behind the data. They could be making $5,000 a month as a single person, but have extraordinary medical bills. They could have no legs, right? There could be lots of different reasons if we look solely at income, right? One of the other options that we provided there is what if we offered Meals on Wheels with a sliding scale of payment for meals based on income level. So for anyone making at 0 to 150% of the poverty level, they pay $3 for their meal. At 150% to upwards to 200% of the poverty level, they pay $5 for their meal. At 300 or 400%, they pay $7 for their meal. And anyone over 400% of the poverty level pays what it costs us to deliver that meal, which is about $12 a meal. So if we think about the meal itself, the packaging it takes, the vehicle to deliver it, the staff to deliver it, all of those things, it costs about $12 a meal. And then...
Another question.
Oh, sure.
You mentioned if a person making $7,000 a month.
Yes.
That they could qualify to get Meals on Wheels. Is that correct?
Yes. Right now you can qualify for Meals on Wheels at 60 years old.
Okay. And they're making $7,000 a month, and they're paying $12 for the meal.
They're paying $3.
They're paying $3. Those numbers don't seem to add up.
Over $60,000 if you're doing $5,000. I know there's exceptions to the rule, but somebody making $60,000, something like that would. And I know there's things you have to look at. You give a good example, so I know everyone doesn't fit in the same thing.
Right.
But someone making $7,000 a month.
So up to this point, income has not been a guideline that has restricted anyone from receiving a meal.
What is the
guideline? We're at the point where
The age.
Just the age.
Just age?
Age and then the ability to get out of your house as far as
whether you're isolated, you're in a rural area and there's not.
But Connie, let me ask you this, excuse me. When I went out and delivered with y'all, I didn't see that many people that I delivered that are making $5,000 a month. I mean, they were in dire straits where they were at. So is that not the norm, or have you done history, any check on that?
Yeah. So on the data that I provided for you, if we were to cap the meal income at $5,000 a month, it would take over 100 people off our meals list.
And how many do we have right now? We do about 110,000.
So at the time that I ran this data, we had about 670 people on our meal program, and it would take it down about 100 people to cap it at $5,000 a month.
Okay.
Assuming that those folks could then have another outlet for getting that meal.
What would that be?
What's that?
What would the other outlets be?
They would have family they could rely on. They could hire home health, and a home health aide could provide a meal for them.
You could hire home health?
Yes.
Hire help?
Yes.
Someone to come in and clean their home?
Well, like for example, we had a home health aide that helped at my house because my mom was 88, living in my home.
Right.
She had the income to provide someone who came in and helped her with daily tasks, as well as provided a meal for her. She cooked her a meal, and my mom was not on Meals on Wheels. So we would think that at $5,000 a month, someone might be able to hire a home health agency to come in and prepare that meal for them.
It really comes down to actual basic circumstances where each one is very, very different from the other. When my mother-in-law was alive, we had someone to come in and do the same thing. However, we had to pay for it.
Yes, at about $31 an hour is the going rate for a home health aide.
Well, and I think there are other options too, depending on where you live in the county. I mean, there's DoorDash and stuff like that, which people maybe don't think, but that is available as well. And when Connie and I sat down and looked at this, the challenge was, let's eliminate the waiting list, but obviously, you throw money at something, you can take care of anything, right? Well, we didn't want to be that only option, and I think people don't understand that we subsidize every meal, $9 a meal right now. Right. For the people, even the people who pay the $3, it still costs the county an additional $9. So we're subsidizing that meal. One of the options, like Connie's pointing out, is we could just cap it and say, hey, anybody over the I don't know the exact dollar amount, but say anybody who's making $60,000 a year or more, you don't qualify for us to deliver your Meals on Wheels because you probably have the income to find another resource, whatever that is. There are a couple of other scenarios in there, and one of them being we have a sliding scale so that if we leave those people on, they must pay the full $12 amount. So we're not subsidizing. And then people who are at a different range, and I don't remember the exact breakout, I know it's on here, but Connie, I know you know it better than I do. So if you're at the 300% level, you pay $5. And so it increases the income that we receive from the services. It maybe encourage some people that they look and find a better way. If they think they can do it for less money, they obviously have that opportunity. But right now, and I think Connie mentioned this, we have people who are on the very top end of this scale who don't pay anything because they just choose not to. And because we don't have a policy that says you must pay if you're in that range.
Okay.
And I think that's what we're getting to is if you're going to be on this, it should be, first of all, we don't want to take meals away from anybody who cannot afford to do it on their own. Right. That is not the intent here. Connie tells us all the time, 40% or more of these people, it's the only meal they get. And we definitely do not want to put people in a position where they can't get that meal. But this is all, again, because we are tax-driven, these things are, your meals are being subsidized by the other taxpayers in the county. Wherever you are philosophically, whether you agree with that, doing that or not, that's where we're at.
Yeah.
So there are people who can probably handle this on their own without being subsidized by the taxpayers, and that's what we're trying to get to. And we're trying to find the comfort level of the commission on what that threshold is. I think Connie has some really good options here, and I think it's time. Honestly, I think it's time because with that wait list of 10 people, it's not a simple matter of, well, that 10 people, it's $130 a meal a day. That's not how it works. You have to add a staff member, you have to add a vehicle, and then you have to have backup for that staff member or find 4 or 5 volunteers. And it's not a simple matter. So to add 10 people costs us tens of thousands of dollars, not a few $100s a day.
Connie, what have other counties done with this? I'm sure you've talked to some of your counterparts. Because somebody making over $60,000 a year, and people out there that aren't even close to that concerns me.
Yeah, we're unique in that we are subsidized by county government. Many Meals on Wheels entities are nonprofit. And so we're very lucky to have your support and appreciate it very much. To answer your question, folks have raised the price. Like in my mom's small town before she moved with me, she paid $4 a meal. I think, Mark, you said your mom paid $6 a meal. So various other counties do it that way. And then there are income restrictions. Wyandotte County, for example, serves 100 hot meals a day. And they have frozen meals from Mom's Meals that are the option for anyone else on their Meals on Wheels program. So there are lots of ways to do it. Some counties require a medical note from a doctor to say that this would be beneficial to you. So there are lots of different ways to tackle this. We've just not encountered a need to restrict until now. I mean, we are at capacity with what we can deliver with the current staff that we have, with the budget that we have. with the fundraising and other grants and things that we write to help support the folks that aren't paying for their meal.
I think it's time we take a hard look at this. Maybe we can't do it on one day. Take a hard look at this. I also want to make sure that nobody, from some of the meals I delivered to some of the people out in Lansing and the county, are receiving them, because they are definitely in dire straits. But I have to say, when somebody's making $5,000 or $7,500 a month, and that's concerning to me. And I know there's probably some medical things, but that's really concerning to me. So I noticed you put some guidelines and things we need to go to. What is our next step on this, Mark? If the other county commissioners would like to see another plan.
Yeah, I see another plan, because $60,000 an individual, and then we're subsidizing with $9 from the county of taxpayers' dollars. That to me is
a problem.
I got a problem with it when we're taking other individuals and we're only going to give, the Sparrow Clinic $5,000 for life-saving situations here.
Good point.
Look at this.
Yeah. And one of the things that we talked about is you have people who are under 60 years old, working, making much less than that, paying taxes to subsidize for somebody who's making that to get a meal. And that's where it was kind of when you think of it like that, it's like, okay, so somebody who's home maybe with a kid, they're trying to support making $30,000 a year is paying their taxes, so that somebody who's home either retired or working, making $60,000 to $70,000 a year, that person making 30 is subsidizing that person's meal the way the plan is right now. And I just think fundamentally it just seemed like there's something wrong with that.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's where we can come up with a suggestion, but what we're really kind of looking at here was what's the temperature for the commission. Allow people to stay on even if they're over that threshold, or if they're over $60,000 a year, just completely take them off.
Well, I think I'd like to see some recommendations, probably 3 or 4 steps coming back. I definitely don't want to see somebody that's making $60,000, but there's some outside circumstance that we don't know. But folks, $60,000, I know a lot of people don't make that, and they're, like you're saying, they're working hard. I don't want to see anybody suffer. I guess I'm a quality of life person, but $60,000, come on. I think we need some options coming back to us on what y'all recommend.
So
I
then,
would be
I'm sorry.
interested in a pay scale situation where those who can financially afford it are more or less paying back into the system to help cover some of the overhead costs to make sure that we're able to take care of everybody that needs a service. Because I think the alternative to that would potentially be, because you're wealthy, you can afford to do these other things. But if you're talking about bringing an outside agency in, like a home health service, from my experience, it takes someone managing that, a family member or someone else being able to manage, make sure they show up, make sure they do a good job. And just because you're wealthy doesn't mean you're not completely alone with no family. So that would be my concern, is that because of money, we would take a resource away from them and they wouldn't be able to manage a replacement well. So that's kind of where I'm thinking along those lines.
Absolutely. And then, given the rural nature of our county, someone who is isolated and it's hard to get to. So we can look at all of those individually and provide that information. But it's helpful to have some income guidelines that I can take a temperature check with you to see that anything below this you would support. Okay.
And that's where there's several options here. So one of the other options would be allowing the people to stay on if they wanted to, but to charge them, and maybe charge $14 an hour, so they pay $2 an hour more to help subsidize all the people who are getting free meals. Yeah. And then we have the next tier would be $12, and then I think was it $7 and $5. So if that seems like maybe that's more something the commission would be.
That's going in the right direction.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
We'll put together just that, so we can narrow it down to one. We'll put together one presentation for you with those numbers and bring it back. And we're kind of trying to target this for a first of the year change, but a lot of these people need several months' notice so that they know they can make other arrangements. So we'll,
No one here wants to see anyone go hungry.
Right.
However, we do have an obligation to other individuals.
No taxpayers.
Yep.
Jeff, you okay with you? Vanessa, you okay with that? Really?
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Okay, we need to talk about, discuss the setting agenda for a joint economic development work session. I think it's Vanessa's on this one. Hello?
Hi. So we have two options for a meeting space that has agreed to broadcast it. One is USD 453 school board meeting room. They feel they can handle the potential capacity and broadcast the meeting so anyone that's not able to attend can watch it. And then also, that would be under Superintendent Kellen Adams, Superintendent Lauren Feldkamp from USD 464 also offered their Tonganoxie School Board meeting room, and they would be able to broadcast it as well. There were other options, but they weren't able to broadcast it, and so
That's free with Lansing, yeah.
if we want to do that, those are the two options that I found.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't think working with 10 out there, Lansing, they volunteered it, but they're just not set up to do that downstairs. That's where we'd have to go as a community room. Jeff, what do you think?
Sure.
Okay. Sure. Willie?
Absolutely.
Which place do we want to go to? I don't think we want to travel. I'd like to put somewhere in the middle. And it sounds like the school, Leavenworth school thing is probably the closest. Because the other one was Tonganoxie, you said?
Yes.
And that's a long drive for everybody. People, I don't know how many people are going to show up anyway, so maybe.
Well, put it in Lansing.
Well, we tried. We couldn't get the recording. We got to record this and show it because we had a community center downstairs. Vanessa worked on that, but we just can't get the recording downstairs, and the upstairs won't handle what I think we're going to get. So the school is probably the largest up here, and I think it's not the middle point, but it's better than going south. But that's just my 2 cents. Willie, what do you think? Tongi or Leavenworth?
I have a preference. You want Tongi? We do Tongi.
I do Tongi. Doesn't matter to me.
I'm leaving it up to the majority.
Really?
Tonganoxie.
Yeah.
Oh, you're the tiebreaker.
You got to speak up first.
Tongie's in the middle of the county, so I'll go with Tongie.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
I like Tongi. That'd be a good drive. Okay.
So, again, to just recap from, I think it's been about a month since we talked about it, looking at August the 6th, which is a Wednesday night, 6 p.m. It's going to be an open meeting. Public are invited. We encourage any governing bodies to announce it as an open meeting, which would be school boards, cities.
And the subject?
Economic development.
Economic development, okay.
We're inviting legislators, school boards, city governments, LCDC, Port Authority, and I think they had one or two organizations they were going to invite that's involved with some of their memberships and such like that. But what I'm trying to figure out, especially during budget session, which is why we wanted to hold it before our budget was finalized, because I feel like we lack direction. The cities all have different opinions. Some of them match, some of them don't. As far as LCDC, LCPA, but as a county, I would really like to just get everybody at the same table. We also, I think Beverly Gossage, Senator over Tonganoxie, is maybe newer to that area. And then we have Senator Clem, who's new senator for some of the rest of our area. So just kind of getting everybody at the table, hearing ideas, because I would really like to forge a solid path forward, maybe like a 3-year plan or something like that, where we have vision, we know what we're doing, we know what funding we want to do or don't want to do, what mechanism we're going to use. I'm just kind of looking for some clarity.
Is LCDC going to be invited to this?
Yes.
Well, we tried this when I first came on 4 or 5 years ago. We couldn't get anybody to show up. So I'm hoping you have a little better thing. The thing, and I agree to going in one direction, But you got to understand, folks, you've got a lot of different opinions out there. And so we're going to catch a lot of different opinions on things that's going. But it's always good to talk one-on-one and see where it goes.
Yeah.
Where's that going to be again?
So this would be then at the Tonganoxie USD 464 School Board Meeting Room, and
Okay. 6
they
p.m.?
agreed to broadcast 6 p.m. August 6th is a Wednesday.
Very good.
6-6.
It was, I don't remember, maybe Commissioner Smith, Dove, and Stephen that said they wanted like a tight agenda, if I remember the verbiage from like a month ago. So this work session was to try to develop that agenda. Are there any specific things that you want to make sure we talk about, or do we want to just leave it to kind of open discussion? My idea was to have kind of a, I haven't been to the Tonganoxie School Board room yet, so I will go out and visit that, but to try to make sure everyone
see
that's
each other
on the panel, you know,
That's
as closely seated as possible instead of all spread out, and then potentially a mic. So whoever wants to speak at the time gets up and uses the mic and presents whatever their ideas are to the body and obviously the public, work session style meeting.
Okay.
So we'll just leave it open to
Unless I hear anything different, which
What
so
anybody
it
wants
doesn't
to
seem
talk about.
like we do have anything specific. It'll just be economic development.
Yep.
Property tax, here we go.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so we're all good on that. Okay. We'll go ahead and do the round the horn before we go to executive. Jeff, do you have anything?
Nope.
Okay. We have our joint meeting with Baser this evening.
Yep.
Okay. Willie, do you have anything?
No, I do not.
Vanessa?
Nope.
Okay. Willie, you'll take us into executive.
Move that the board recess for closed executive meeting to allow the committee to discuss personal matters related to specific non-elected employees in order to protect the privacy interests of the individuals discussed as permitted under the Kansas Open Meetings Act, and that board resume opening meeting at how much time do you think we need?
20 minutes.
20 minutes
20
at
minutes. Just at 11.
At 11 o'clock.
Yeah. Second. Got a motion, a second. Mr. Corpelson?
Aye.
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 All right, we're in executive.
The board has returned to regular session at 11 a.m. No action taken and no decisions were made. The subject was limited to matters related to specific non-executive.
All right, that's the last thing on our thing today, unless the commissioner has anything. If not, I take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Aye.
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 We are adjourned. Good meeting. Thank you, folks.